Hey, train fanatics, welcome back to Other Side of the Tracks. I'm Chris. Here in front of us is a box with our very first Doodlebug here on the channel. Very excited to have it from the TCA, the Train Collectors Association of America. Today is January 1st, 2025. Oh my goodness, a new year. I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve and holiday. Welcome to a new year of train collecting. So rewind back to November 2023. I may have sent a photo of a particular Strasburg Railroad Doodlebug to Stu Rankin and was encouraging him to consider it as a possible future project for the TCA or METCA. Stu mentioned he was considering the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern motor car as possibly in a trolley format, although he ultimately opted for just the straight up Strasburg theming here, as the TCA had released with their trolley. But then he asked me about what about doing it in a Doodlebug format. And what do you know, shortly thereafter in January 2024, in the Big Book catalog, Lionel had a whole slew of Doodlebug options, and they are really cool looking. Really wish I could have grabbed that East Broad Top. That's another really neat Pennsylvania short line railroad. Well, and of course, as we can see, with this nice big box, we went ahead and we got the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern represented in a Doodlebug, which is former MTH tooling. Now, of course, it's not going to be the exact perfect rendering of that Strasburg Doodlebug. Is literally one of a kind, and no way is any manufacturer going to make tooling for something like that. That's a real one-off, and it's just not going to happen. So this is about as close as we're ever going to get. It's really nice to have a great representative piece of it, and the Doodlebug is a really cool model. Let's take a quick minute to talk about Strasburg Railroad's Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern number 10. Or, of course, as I always remember, my grandmother would pronounce Lancaster, who she was from Allentown, Pennsylvania, Lancaster. So I'll let you decide what's the proper pronunciation. All right, so the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern number 10 was built by the Sanders Machine Shop out of Maryland in 1915. Now, the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern Railroad in southern Lancaster County was under financial duress, and they were looking to save money by using a motor car instead of a big steam engine on their route. So they'd have less operating costs, less staff costs. Motor car uses gasoline instead of coal. So while it was built in 1915, in October 1914, the railroad was sold due to its financial condition. So number 10 was built originally as a more narrow gauge motor car, a 3-foot gauge line. And then it was ultimately converted to a standard gauge in 1918. But alas, the railroad went out of business, declared bankruptcy in 1918 after a nearly 50-year run of the railroad. It's believed that this example was the only one of its kind built by that Sanders Machine Shop. So this motor car only saw 3 years of service until the railroad finally collapsed due to its financial difficulties and went into bankruptcy. The line was sold for scrap. A year after ceasing operations in 1918, in 1919, this or thereafter, at some point this car was sold to the Grassy River Railroad in New York State, and it remained there until 1960 when it was sold to the Strasburg Railroad. It was restored in 1973 by Strasburg and then leased out to some other small railroads until 1984, where it was brought back to Strasburg, and then underwent another full major restoration between 1991 and 1997, and thereafter re-entered passenger service and is utilized periodically to this very day by the Strasburg Railroad. In fact, at this very moment on their website, they're advertising tickets can be sold to ride this motor car on select days during the winter time. Of course, demand isn't as heavy. Give their steam engines a break or when they're undergoing maintenance. Now, the number 10 was not the only passenger motor car operated by the Strasburg Railroad. There was also a number 21 motor car built by the Brill Motor Car Company in 1921, which is more of a passenger rail bus. So that was operated by a slew of various railroads, including the Pennsylvania Railroad, until it ultimately ended up at Strasburg in 1969, where it was used periodically for passenger service in the 70s and eventually was donated to the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania, literally across the street from the Strasburg Railroad, in the year 2001. And number 21 remains there on static display outside. So it's definitely looking a little rough. Number 21, at least from the pictures I've seen, it needs a little love. It's getting a little rusty and crusty, and it'd be a shame if it deteriorates to the point where it's going to become trash. But I digress. Let's get back to our number 10 here of the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern. So yes, because it was built for a smaller gauge railroad, it is tiny in comparison to these other Doodlebugs that were operated by some of the other major railroads. So yes, this model definitely won't be exact in design. So I know some folks may not like that, but me personally, I'm glad to have this really neat, one-of-a-kind piece of railroading history represented in O scale, something that I can enjoy and run here on the layout, and more fully complete the collection of having every piece of rolling stock and engines of the Strasburg Railroad represented here in the collection. What am I going to use this for? The beauty box. Gotta be something I can squeeze in there that could be useful. Wow. Look at this box. This is the old Lionel logo. Lionel trains from Michigan. Hey, that's pretty cool. This is like a collector's piece right there. Ah. Huh. Item number. It was in there originally. Well, recycling, I guess. Great packaging. I almost didn't get this package. While it was, as you can see, very well boxed up. Thank you, TCA. Our friends at the U.S. Post Office, well, they had a little problem with this package. It shipped from Strasburg at TCA, arrived at a distribution center here in San Antonio, Texas, and then disappeared for 9 days. I was getting really worried. I even reached out to the TCA office saying, we might have a problem here. But eventually, after 9 days, it popped up again at another distribution center in San Antonio and ultimately was delivered. So it took over 2 weeks for this package to arrive. Okay, here's our sticker on the box with the Lionel item number. Was shipped on the boat in September 2024 and of course was mailed out to those that pre-ordered in December 2024. And as previously mentioned, there are still a few available if you want to purchase one for your collection. Part number 1483. Interesting. Again, first due at the TCA, only 50 of these were built in the Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern road name. Okay. Get this open and give it a closer look. go. All right, we got our orange box. TCA Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern Doodlebug, Lionchief 2.0. Interesting how the size of the font suddenly decreases for after Oxford and Southern Doodlebug, Lionchief 2.0. It's smaller. Not that that's a big deal or anything. I just think it's kind of humorous. Just lost some traction tires. Okay, we got our owner's manual. Gasoline locomotive. Add smoke to either stack. Add 20 drops initially, 10 to 20 thereafter. Extra traction tires, and oh, a little pipette as well. Oh, it's a little itty bitty one. All right. Let's see little rubber bumpers they have here on the plastic clamshell kind of packaging. Here we have it. Car number 10. SRC. Strasburg Railroad. And I'm going to mispronounce the city in Maryland. This is built in, so I'm not going to attempt it. Oh, wow. This thing is surprisingly heavy. Got our switches here on the bottom. Bluetooth. We got 4 pickup rollers. Very cool. Some just molded in detail. Now the reverse side. And for reference, here is the back side of the box, just listing some of the features of this Lionchief Doodlebug. Got a sticker added on the box here. So they changed it to say single maintenance free motor. So maybe it said dual motors before, I don't know, but they had to correct a boo-boo there. Even with this little pipette, these smokestacks are really tiny. So I got a little drippy here I gotta clean up. Whoopsies. Very tiny. Very tiny. Now, according to Lionel, these doodlebugs will work on a minimum curve of 0.31 or greater. So pretty much any layout this should work no problem for. Has dual electro couplers. You can attach another passenger car to it, like a Strasburg Railroad passenger car, for instance, or even other rolling stock. The options are endless. Has unique gasoline engine sounds, horn, bell, crew talk, tower dialogue, fan-driven smoke, cab, and interior illumination. Very cool. From coupler to coupler, come in at about just over 16 inches in length. About 4 inches tall. Even though it's a Lionchief, so it's not as detailed. Everything's molded in there. It's definitely unique. Nothing quite like it there on the tracks. We do have headlamp here. Decorative bell there on the side. 3 smokestacks. Crew figure in the front here, which is hand painted. The cow catcher design here, very important, as that is quite a prominent feature on the original Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern motor car. We do have little chairs in the passenger section. Of course, no figures, and they are pretty tiny and wedged right up against the windows, as much of the interior is taken up by the motors, electronics, speaker, etc. Springs on the truck are molded in purely decorative. You have a lot of molded in riveting detail on the sides, which is nice. A ladder here in the luggage compartment area. Also ladders in the front and rear. At the rear we do have a diaphragm, so if you connect it to another coach car, those diaphragms will come together for a continuous passenger train. All right, let's fire this thing up. Nice. Hey, it's smoking already. Go, go. Smoke, smoke, smoke. All right, let's see here. We get our Lionchief app for our Lionchief equipped Doodlebug here. There we go. was wondering why this other train was slowing suddenly, then yanking ahead, and lo and behold, we got a wheel missing from this truck. Where'd it go? Well, there it is. What are you doing over there? You're not supposed to be over there. Bad wheel. Get over there. Stay. Stay. Maybe I'm exerting a lot of force on these with my 036 curves and having so many of these ore cars stacked up. Maybe I'll put this one in the back of this consist just to be safe. Oh man, this thing's smoking up my whole room. All right, might have to open a window to let all the smoke out. This thing smokes like a champ. Great little model. Appreciate the TCA bringing this project to fruition. Glad to have it here as part of our ever-growing Strasburg Railroad collection. I do hope that you enjoyed checking out this Doodlebug here with me today. Really cool Lancaster, Oxford, and Southern, number 10. Oh yes, finally here in my hand. Well, don't forget to give us a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, check out our other videos. You can also support us on Patreon. I appreciate all of your support, and until next time, you take care now. This is Chris from Other Side of the Tracks.